Everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we just finished watching episode 8 of House of the Dragon, and wow, this one has a lot of developments, and it feels like we are here at the final steps before the big civil war starts to break out. So basically what ends up happening is, so we have what are they, the sea snakes, the Valerians, right, the rulers of Driftstone, and basically what ends up happening is that I think his name was Corlys, the guy who's in charge of Driftstone. He partnered with Daemon and that whole thing, right? Well, he didn't come home. Basically he was out doing some kind of battle over at the Stepstones again, right, which I guess like another uprising over at the Stepstones. He ends up getting injured, and so the question of who would be the proper heir comes up again, because technically speaking, it's supposed to be his grandson, which of course was Rhaenyra's children. I forget which one is which, but basically it's one of the boys that is clearly from House Strong, and it's like this big, not so secret, open secret kind of thing. It's like everyone knows he's just, look at him, right? Clearly they're not fully Targaryen or Valerian or anything like that, right? They're all House Strong boys, which of course is a big thing in this episode. So basically Corlys's brother, I don't remember his name, but he basically shows up, and he kind of did this dig at the funeral last episode, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, we did another time jump. It's been 6 years again, so 6 years since the last time jump. And I believe this is supposed to be the last one. So everyone who looks the way they look now, this is how they're supposed to look for the rest of the show. Maybe. We'll see if they keep it that way. Maybe they'll do another time jump next season. Who knows? But basically, he shows up, the brother, and he's like, hey, look, those kids are strong. They're from House Strong. They're not even our blood. They're not our kin. Why should they take over the seat? That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows the truth. Right, and so he's going to go to King's Landing and petition for himself to be, the head of Driftstone, which of course is this huge controversy, and everyone's kind of worried about like what's going to happen. And basically, if he's able to, make his case that these boys should not be able to inherit Driftstone, that also kind of puts into question their ability to inherit the Iron Throne, and thus also kind of puts in Rhaenyra's question of her ability to be the next heir of the throne, right? Because it's like, oh, huge controversy. For some reason, that means she can't be queen, I guess. Kind of unclear on that front. It's like even if they proved all this was true, it's like, what, she can't become a queen because she did that? Come on. Anyways, so it's this huge thing. Everyone's going to King's Landing, and of course, when everyone gets together, when all of our main characters meet up, someone's gonna die. Like that's just, it's what has to happen. It's just the truth in this show. If everyone's in the same room, someone's dying. Anyways, so basically they all get over there, and King Viserys, still alive 6 years later, he is literally hanging on by like a string, right? Like he's barely there. He's wheezing. He's in the back room. His Alicent and the Hand Hightower, of course, they're the ones running the show. They've been running the show for a while now, which of course is all they've ever wanted, right? They've always wanted to run the show. They want to make sure that their son actually ends up taking the Iron Throne. So like that's the ultimate plan here, and we'll kind of see some of this being planted at the end of this episode. But yeah, it's this big family get together, and these people are petitioning to like, oh, I should run Driftmark. And of course the brother, Corlys's brother, the Sea Snake's brother, I don't remember these names, guys. It won't matter in a second, because he's over there saying like, these children are bastards, and you hear Daemon, he's like in the crowd, he's like, come on, say it, say the word. He's like egging him on real quietly, and he's like, okay, fine, these children are bastards, she's a whore, all this stuff, right? And of course, the second he says that, boom, Daemon slashes his head off real suddenly, and it's like, holy shit, right? Because he says that, and the king's like, I'll have his tongue for that. Oh, right, by the way, and that was like an epic moment where like, Alicent is on the throne and they're all pleading their cases, and then in comes the king. He's like barely making it up there, but he's like, I'm going to sit the throne. I'm going to handle this, which good on him, right? Like, look, Viserys, he's never come across as like a bad person. You know what I mean? He's always like, he's done everything he possibly can to get everyone to get along with each other, which of course is an impossible task, and we all know what happens. but he's doing what he can, right? And so good on him for showing up and actually like putting it into this as much as he can, at least this situation. But yeah, he called the brother calls those kids bastards and calls her a whore, and Damon just like cuts his head in half, and that's the end of that. You know what I mean? So like, there you go. Now their son gets to inherit Driftmark, like, because they're the only ones who can now. And so the king's like, all right, cool. The matter is settled. Everything's fine. It's done. Which of course, the queen who never was, what's her name? Rhaena? These names. The one who was maybe going to be queen, but then they chose Viserys. Of course, she's all kinds of... Who knows where her head is at right now? Because, like, they made a deal where, like, her daughters or her granddaughters... Yeah, her granddaughters are gonna marry, Rhaenyra's sons, and it was, like, this whole deal. But then, I mean, then Daemon cut that guy's head off, so it's like, is that deal still gonna be honored? Is she cool with that still? I don't know. Who knows? She might be like, no, I hate all of them now. I hate everyone in this family now. So who knows? Who knows where that's all going to happen? But there is this really tense dinner scene where, at first everything's kind of tense, and then everything lightens up, and the king's all happy about it. But then the king kind of gets sick, and he gets put to bed, right? He's going back to his room, and right away, you have a lot of tension because, of course, you had the nephews and the uncles, and one of the strong boys had cut the eye out last episode of one of the uncles there. Is it Ares, Aegon? Who knows at this point? But he's like, everyone's like toasting each other, and at first everything's pleasant, and then he does a toast, and he's like to my nephews, these really wise and strong boys. Aren't they strong? They're so strong. Like, of course, he's just rubbing it in that, like, everyone knows. And so that almost causes this huge fight, like, they almost go at it, which, of course, is going to end up being, like, the big thing, right? And then we see, like, this strange moment, and I'm not entirely sure who these people were. So, like, we see outside the castle, we see some girl in a hood, and I don't know if this is the same girl who, this pretty... messed up moment where, like, I guess one of oh my god, there's so many names. I'm trying to think of her. One of the Targaryen sons had like attacked this girl and like sexually assaulted this girl, and then they made her drink the tea, and then I don't know if this is supposed to be that same girl. She was like in a hood, and then she like met someone else outside the castle, some other lady. I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't like that. Someone's gonna have to explain that bit to me because I don't know exactly who those are supposed to be or what that deal is. But then we see the King Viserys. He's in bed now, and he's like barely alive, and then he says something to oh my god, I'm forgetting her name. His wife, his current wife. He says something to his current wife, and he's talking about like the Song of Ice and Fire and Aegon's dream and. Like the prince who is promised. And of course, she doesn't know what he's talking about. But one of their sons is named Aegon. And so, like, he's like, oh, Aegon is the one. He must, the prince, the king who is promised and, fulfill the destiny and all that stuff. And then he dies. So, and she, in the confusion of all that, it seems... that she's gonna misinterpret this as like, oh, he's saying that he wants our son Aegon to be the king. Like it was a really confusing moment for her. I'm not sure how she would get that from what he said, but that seems the direction of where this is going, and that's where the episode ends. So Rhaenyra, look, her son is gonna be now the ruler of Driftmark. That matter seems to be pretty well settled. And they're going to be seemingly still marrying their other cousins. Yeah. Or would it be their stepsisters? Half-sisters? No, stepsisters. It's all really confusing. This family is just like a mixing bowl. It's anyways. But yeah, King Viserys seems to have finally died. He was like barely there. He had like this half face gold mask thing going on. So he's gone now. He's gone. And it seems like Alicent, that's her name. Alicent is going to maybe think that he wanted her son to be the king now. And of course, that's where this huge conflict is going to set off and the Civil War will start. And man, this show just continues to deliver. Even in episodes where like, oh, we haven't had a good action scene in like 3-4 episodes, it doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't matter that there's no action because it's all, you know, it's essentially a soap opera. That's the truth. It's like a really high production, sometimes suddenly violent soap opera. That's really what's happening here because it's all this family drama and power grabs and backstabbing and sneaking around, and you know, these people want to do this and those people are trying to do that, and like, okay, my son can marry your daughter, and then you know, like, it's the drama of it all. It's fascinating, you know. So yeah, next episode should be like, I don't know how many episodes are going to be in this season. I don't know if next episode's like the end of season 1 or what, but you know, we're almost there. Well, no, I guess if there's 10 episodes, next episode's episode 9. Yeah. But, yeah, it definitely seems like this is where it's going to be like, you know, Alicent's going to declare her son the king, and there's going to be huge conflict now, and oh boy, we're gonna see how this all goes, because now, I guess their side is going to, you know, rule the seas. They're going to have control of all the ships, right? Because her son is now going to be the ruler of that area, unless of course Corlys shows up and he's alive, in which case Daemon just killed his brother. You know, so there's all kinds of things that this could go. Like this could go any number of directions if he somehow is alive, and then that's a huge problem now. Anyways, you know, obviously still really invested, still fascinating. You know, the names are always going to be a problem for me, especially when I have like 4 or 5 different TV shows happening and everyone has strange names. You know, it's all fantasy, sci-fi stuff, and everyone has a strange name. So it's like, how am I going to remember all these names? Anyways, really great stuff. House of the Dragon. Super excited. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.